solution. TV, learning made easy, come and see. Chemistry, math, Kiswahili. We like the spark to Nawasha Akili. Online solution. TV, from Bombay to the world we teach free. Click, watch, grown up mystery. With the future ni sisi tayari.
Chemistry definitions and the laws you must be familiar with. Drugs and drug abuse. A drug is a substance, natural or manufactured, which when used alters the way the body functions. Drug abuse. The use of a drug for a purpose other than what it is meant for is called drug abuse, or you can say use of overdose or underdose of a prescribed drug. A laboratory. A laboratory is a building of a special room where chemicals and apparatus are kept and in which practical subjects such as chemistry are studied. Sublimation is a process by which a substance changes from a solid state to a gas state when heated. State the kinetic theory of matter. The kinetic theory of matter states that matter is made up of particles which are in a continuous state of motion. An element is a pure substance which cannot be split into simpler substances by chemical means. Compounds. A compound is a pure substance made up of two or more elements which are chemically combined. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. An indicators is a substance which shows different colors when in acidic solution or basic solution. Rusting is the corrosion of an ion due to its reaction with atmospheric oxygen and moisture. Atomic number and mass number. Atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. Mass number is the sum of the protons and the neutrons in an atom of an element. Isotopes are atoms of the same element having the same atomic number but different mass numbers. Valence, the number of electrons an atom loses or gains during a chemical reaction, is the valency of an atom. Valency is also called combining power of an element. Radicals. Radicals are groups of atoms with a net charge that exist and react as a unit during chemical reactions. For example, the sulfate ion, carbonate ion, the hydroxide ion, ammonium ion, all those are called radicals. The nitrate, all of those are radicals. Alkali metals, these are group 1 elements of the periodic table. Ionization energy, it is the energy, the minimum energy required to remove an electron from the outermost energy level of an atom in its gaseous state. Alkaline earth metals, the elements in group 2 of the periodic table are called alkaline earth metals. A ductile substance, these are materials in one which can be drawn into a wire. A malleable substance, materials which can be hammered into sheets and are said to be malleable. Brittle substance. A brittle substance is one which is hard and likely to break, like a structure is brittle. Halogens are nonmetals in group 7 of the periodic table. Example, bromine, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Noble gases, these are elements in group 8 of the periodic table. They are also called noble gases. Ionic bond, also called electrovalent bond, an ionic bond is the electrostatic force of attraction between a metal and an nonmetal. An ionic bond is formed when there is a complete transfer of valence electrons from one atom to another, resulting in two ions with opposite charges, which mutually attract one another. The resulting compound is called an ionic compound. Covalent bond is a bond that is formed when nonmetals combine. So it is covalent bond it's a bond formed when atoms share a pair of electrons between them, each donating an electron to be shared. Covalent bonding occurs when between atoms of nonmetals. A coordinate bond is a type of a covalent bond in which the shared pair of electrons forming the bond are contributed by only one species. Examples of substances which undergoes covalent bond, dative bonding or coordinate is ammonium ion, carbon 2 oxide, hydroxonium ion, ozone layer, which is O3, aluminum chloride, dimer, that is this one, and nitric 5 acid also undergoes that. A salt is a substance that is formed when the hydrogen ion in the acid are wholly or partially replaced by a positive ion. Types of salts, we have normal salt. This is a salt that does not contain any replaceable hydrogen atom. For example, sodium chloride, sodium carbonate, potassium sulfate, calcium nitrate. These are called normal salts. These salts are neutral in aqueous state. They are neutral in aqueous state. They are not acidic, they are not basic, therefore they are neutral. Acid salts. These are salts. Acid salts are salts that contain a replaceable hydrogen atom. Some examples are sodium hydrogen carbonate. This one is an acid salt. Potassium hydrogen sulfate, this one, and sodium dihydrogen phosphate. They have acidic properties due to the presence of a replaceable hydrogen. Basic salts. For example, these are salts. Basic salts are salts that basic salts are salts that contain hydroxyl ions. This is it is the presence of hydroxyl ions in these salts that is responsible for the basicity properties. Examples of these are magnesium chloride, basic magnesium chloride, basic lead 2 carbonate, basic zinc chloride. These ones are basic. They contain hydroxyl ions, which is responsible for the basicity. Double salts. Double salts are salts in which there are two different anions and cations. Examples are hydrated potassium aluminum sulfate, this one. hydrated ammonium ion 2 sulfate, this one, trona, this one. These are called double salts. Deliquescent substance. A deliquescent substance, these are salts that absorb water. You can say these are salts or this is a substance. These are substances. A deliquescent substance, these are substances which absorb water from the atmosphere and form solutions. For example, we have anhydrous calcium chloride. Actually, anhydrous calcium chloride is used as a drying agent because it absorbs atmospheric moisture. So sodium hydroxide is another deliquescent substance. Calcium chloride is another deliquescent substance. Iron 2 chloride, potassium hydroxide and zinc chloride, all of those are deliquescent. So what is deliquescency? Deliquescency is the process by which substances or salts absorb water from the atmosphere and form solutions. It is important to finish that if they form solutions. If you don't do that, you might be talking about hygroscopic salts or substances. So let's look at hygroscopic. Hygroscopic substances or salts are salts that absorb water from the atmosphere, yes, but do not form solutions. They don't form. Example is anhydrous copper 2 sulfate, anhydrous cobalt 2 chloride, potassium nitrate, and common table salt, sodium chloride. Therefore, hygroscopy is the process by which salts absorb water from the atmosphere, but they do not form a solution. They don't form a solution. Efflorescent salts are salts which lose water from the water of crystallization when exposed to the atmosphere. This one, they lose their water to the atmosphere. Example is sodium carbonate dehydrate. Efflorescence is the process by which salts lose some of their water of crystallization when exposed to the atmosphere. Conductors. A conductor is a substance which allows an electric current to pass through them. Non-conductors is the opposite. Substances which do not allow an electric current to pass through them. Electrolysis is the process of decomposing an electrolyte by passing electric current through them. An electrolyte is a substance which, when melted or dissolved in water, conducts an electric current and gets decomposed by that current. So electrolysis is the process of decomposing an electrolyte by passing an electric current through it. A binary electrolyte is one which contains only one type of a cation and one type of anion. A binary electrolyte is one which contains one type of a cation and one type of anion. An allotrope is an element which exists in an allotrope is an element which exists in more than one form in the same physical state. Example is diamond and carbon. Allotropy then is the existence of an element in more than one form in the same physical state. State Boyle's law. Boyle's law states that the volume of a given mass of a gas is directly proportional to its pressure at constant temperature. Charles' law states that the volume of a given mass of a gas is directly proportional to its absolute temperature, its pressure kept constant. Diffusion gas laws that is Graham's law, says that diffusion is the process by which, now we are defining diffusion first. Diffusion is the process by which particles spread out from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. Graham's law of diffusion. Graham's law of diffusion states that the rate of diffusion of a gas is inversely proportional to the square root of its density under the same conditions of temperature and pressure. Graham's law states that under the same conditions of temperature and pressure, the rate of diffusion of a gas is inversely proportional to the square root of its density. So this is that's how it states. Or you can say Graham's law states that provided temperature and pressure are constant, the rate of diffusion of a gas is inversely proportional to the square root of its density. Molar solution. A molar solution is a solution that contains 1 mole of a solute in a liter. Molarity of a solution. It is the number of moles in 1 liter. The number of moles in a liter is called molarity, or mostly when you write capital M to capital M, it means molarity. Number of moles in a liter. Endpoint. It is the point at which the reaction is complete. For example, when sodium hydroxide is reacting with HCl, when the color of the indicator changes, that is called the endpoint. Atomicity is the number of atoms in 1 molecule of an element. State. Avogadro's law states that equal volumes of gases will contain equal number of molecules. Gay-Lussac's law states that when gases react, they do so in volumes that bear a simple ratio to one another and to the volume of the product if gaseous temperature. Gay-Lussac law Gay-Lussac's law states that when gases react, they do so in volumes that bear a simple ratio to one another, and the volumes of the products if gaseous temperature and the pressure remaining constant. Isomerism is a situation whereby 2 or more compounds have similar molecular formula but a different structural formula. That one is called isomerism. Such compounds are said to be isomers, or are called isomers. So isomers are compounds that have the same molecular formula but a different structural formula. Dehydrating agent is a substance which is capable of removing chemically combined water or the elements of water from a compound. Dehydration, therefore, is the process of removing water or its elements from a compound. Scrapping by sulfur 4 oxide is the process of scrapping the sulfur 4 oxide is the process of passing the exhaust gases through chimneys lined with calcium hydroxide to reduce the amount of sulfur 4 oxide released to the atmosphere. Acids. An acid is a substance that dissociates in water to give hydrogen ions as the only positively charged ions. A strong acid is one that dissociates completely and yields many hydrogen ions in aqueous solution. A weak acid dissociates partially and yields few hydrogen ions in aqueous solution. A base is a substance that dissociates in water to produce hydroxide ions as the only negatively charged ions. Strength of a base. A strong base is one that ionizes completely in water to produce hydroxide ions. Weak bases partially ionizes to form hydroxide ions. The metal oxides and hydroxides which react with both bases and acids are said to be amphoteric. Example, we have zinc, aluminium, and lead oxides. They are amphoteric. Solubility. The solubility of a solute in a solvent is the maximum mass of a solute required to circulate 100 grams of the solvent at a particular temperature. Fractional crystallization. This is the separation of different salts by making use of the differences in their solubility in the same solvent. Enthalpy of solution. The enthalpy change that occurs when a substance is dissolved in a solvent to give an infinite dilute solution. But molar heat of solution. It is the enthalpy change that occurs when 1 mole of a substance is dissolved in a solvent to give a dilute solution. Enthalpy of combustion is the enthalpy change that occurs when a substance burns completely in oxygen. But molar heat of combustion is the enthalpy change that occurs when 1 mole of a substance is completely burned in oxygen. So you can see the difference between molar heat of combustion and the other. Enthalpy of displacement. The enthalpy of displacement is the enthalpy change that occurs when a substance is displaced from a solution of its ions. But the molar heat of combustion now is the enthalpy change that occurs when 1 mole of a substance is displaced from its solution, from a solution of its ions. So you can note the differences when we talk about enthalpy of displacement and the molar heat of displacement. Enthalpy of neutralization. The enthalpy of neutralization is the enthalpy change that occurs when an acid and a base react to form water and salt. Then the molar heat of neutralization now is the enthalpy change that occurs when an acid and a base react to produce 1 mole of water. Hess law. Hess law states that the energy change in converting reactants to products is the same regardless of the route by which the chemical change occurs. Hydration energy is the energy change that occurs when 1 mole of gaseous ions Hydration energy is the energy change that occurs when 1 mole of a gaseous ions become hydrated. Regitalis principle. When change in conditions is applied to a system in equilibrium, the system moves so as to oppose that change. Radioactivity. Radioactivity is the process when an unstable nuclide breaks up to yield another nuclide of different composition with emission of the particle and energy. A half-life. The half-life is the time taken for a given mass of a nuclide to decay to a half its original mass. That is the key word. The period, the time taken for a nuclide to decay to a half the original mass is called that, I have life. Thank you very, very much. So these are the most divinations that you can easily find in paper 1. And even in paper 2, if they give energy changes, they will ask you to divine molar enthalpy of combustion, whatever, each and whichever. Share to others.
Welcome to the class, no chalk, no dust, just brains and vibes in city and we trust. Chemistry bubbling, math on the rise, Kiswahili flowing, hakuna disguise. From atoms to angles, we break it down. Now look at taifa, we wear the crown. No stress, no fear, just clarity. Online solution, we guarantee. Online solution TV, learning made easy, come and see. Chemistry, math, Kiswahili, we like the spark tunawasha akili. Online solution TV, from Bome to the world we teach free. Click, watch, grow, no mystery. With the future ni sisi tayari. Online solution TV, learning made easy, come and see. Chemistry, math, Kiswahili, we like the spark tunawasha akili. Online solution TV, from Bome to the world we teach free. Click, watch, grow, no mystery. With the future ni sisi tayari. Welcome to the class, no chalk, no dust, just brains and vibes in city and we trust. Chemistry bubbling, math